Hey, this is Janet Leonard, and happy Monday. Today, we're going to talk about some tips for anybody who's using Microsoft 365 or Office programs for both PC and Mac users. And by the way, most of these little tips I'm going to show you work in other programs as well. So let's pop over and take a look at I'll just do a quick overview of where, if you want to know more about our Monday Lives, where you can get on the list so that you get a reminder an hour before the lives on Monday. And so you just go to virtualinstructor.com and click on the Monday Lives event. And then today, of course, we're talking about the tips in Microsoft 365. And then next week, I'm going to talk about this really cool site that some people have told me about that I actually joined. It's called Jarvis AI, and it's actually artificial intelligence for helping you write like copy and blogs and things like that. So I'll be demonstrating that. It's amazing. And it's like 99.999% plagiarism free. Plus they have a special tool to ensure that, because it literally goes word by word. It's just phenomenal. And then the following week, I don't know if you know it, but Windows 11 is out and you can upgrade. So if you want to hold off on upgrading, or if you've upgraded and you want to just hear some tips about and highlights of the new Windows 11, I'll talk about that. And then on November 8th, I'm going to do the PowerPoint photo album talk, which I was going to do back when on that Monday when good old Facebook went offline. And so I wasn't able to go online either. That affected a lot of different programs. All right, so enough of that. Let's go ahead and start talking about some of these different tips. So if you have already signed up for the newsletter, or not the newsletter, the email reminder, then you're going to get a follow-up email with all of these keyboard shortcuts on it. If not, you can go back over to our site and you can get on the newsletter, or that it's not a newsletter, the email list, and you can get the email with these little shortcuts. So one of them that is used universally is the select all. So if you're on a PC, you would hold down the control key and tap the letter A. If you're on a Mac, you'd hold the command key and tap the letter A. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to go ahead and take a look. I'm going to bring escape here for a second. And I'm just going to bring up an Excel workbook or spreadsheet. And all I have to do is, if I hold down the control key, I'm on a PC right now, tap the letter A. Do you notice how it selects that entire block? So that's pretty slick, right? Now, if you wanted to take everything on Excel, you can go to where the column headings and the row headings, and then you click on this little guy and it gets every single thing. But if you want to take a whole block, then you just do Control A. Okay. In the olden days, that actually used to take everything. But now I'm going to pop over to Word. And in Word, the same sort of thing. If I want to select everything, I just do Control A, and it's selected the entire document. And if I were in PowerPoint, I'll go back to the PowerPoint that I was on. And I'll just go back to this one. If I want to select everything, then actually this is a better one because these are all individuals. So if I want to select everything on this slide, Control A. Now that's everything on the slide. But then if you wanted to, you could just right click. This is not in the little handout. Right click, and then you can save it as a picture, copy it, whatever. So Control A and Command A is one of the really good little shortcuts for you. All right, I'm going to go back over. I'll just go to the next slide for you, and we'll just go to the current slide. Another one that's kind of nice. Now, this is one that's really unique to the Microsoft programs, but it's called the selection pane. And if you're ever having trouble kind of selecting some of the objects, here's a little trick for you using the selection pane. So I'll just pop back over to Excel. And in Excel, notice we have a chart, and then we also have a little drawing. By the way, I just brought the drawing in by going to Insert, and then I just went over to Shape. So I'll just put one more shape in there. Let's put the smiley face in. And we got a little smiley face in there. So if I wanted to quickly be able to get to the different objects on here, on the Home tab, and this is true for most of the Microsoft products, you go to the Home tab, whether you're a Mac or PC, And then you're going to look for something that has to do with selecting. So in Excel, you're going to go to the Find and Select, and you notice there is a selection pane. And when I click on that, it opens up the pane, and then you can go ahead and select the objects by just simply clicking on here. So notice it's not including the data in the cells, but if you had a bunch of different objects that you want to be able to quickly find or select, the selection pane will do that for you. Now close that one, and now we'll pop back over to Word, because you can see I have two different objects here as well. So in Word, you would go back to the Home tab like before, and then you would look over for something that has to do with select. And in this case, in Word, it actually says select. And look at that, there's a selection pane. So when you click on it, same thing as before, it allows you to select whichever object that you want to work with. So you can imagine if you had a 50-page document in Word and you had graphics or charts on different pages, this would be a lot faster way to locate those objects by knowing about the selection pane. Alrighty, so I'm going to minimize that. We'll go back over to PowerPoint. And now let's go to the next little shortcut for you. And this one is kind of cool. I use this a lot, and again, it's Control if you're on the PC, Command on the Mac. But if you have a lot of windows open that you're working with, you can hold down, and in this case, actually I made a typo on here. I'll fix that on the handout, but it's Alt-Tab instead of Control. So you hold down the Alt-Tab, tap the Tab key, and I'm going to change my focus over here. So I'm on StreamYard right now, so I need to change the focus back over to me. Okay, hold down the Alt key, and then hopefully you can see all the different windows that I have. So let's make sure that we're on the right screen. Sorry about that little techie thing going on here. And let's try that one more time. So I hold down the Alt key and I tap the Tab key, and hopefully you can see that I'm cycling between the different programs, and then I can just bring up whichever program I need. Now I'm going to go back and stop share and go back to the other window that I was doing, so you can see that. So that one, I'm not so sure it shows so great on my broadcasting, but try it. So it's actually Alt-Tab and Command-Tab. So I will update that for those of you that are getting the email that will have the shortcuts on it. So next one is only two more to show you, but this is important to know. You may have heard this term before, I'm not sure, but it's called contiguous or non-contiguous selection. So we're going to talk about a contiguous selection first to show you the little trick for how to do this. Contiguous selection is just simply a block. So a block of text, a block of cells, just a block of files, whatever it is that you want, a solid block. So let me show you how that one works. And I'll come over, and I'm in Excel right now. So on Excel, let's say I want to start from this area here, because you don't have to always be at the far left. You select where you want to start, then you can hold down the Shift key, and then you can click where you want it to end. So, and by the way, in Excel, if you change your mind on the selection, hold down the Shift key and click. So wherever you click, as long as you have the Shift key held down, it will assume that's the end of the block. So that is a contiguous block of cells. Now over in Word, I'm just going to pop into Word, and I'll just move down a little bit, make it easier to see. I could select this paragraph, and then if I wanted to use my keyboard, I could just hold down the Shift key and then just start tapping the down arrow key. So you just basically, or I can take my mouse and I can move down to the paragraph I want and click. So just like with Excel, if I went too far, as long as I hold down the Shift key, I can click and I can change the selection. So you start out where you want to start selecting. You can highlight if you want, or you simply move your mouse pointer to the last part of the solid block you want, do a shift, and that is what we mean by a contiguous block of cells. And you can do the same sort of thing. I have Explorer opened up, so you can take a look at that. And over in Explorer here, just some files. If I wanted to take this block down to here, I click where I want to start, hold down the Shift key, click where I want to end, and I take a solid block. Good. All righty. Oh, I see. Hey, Todd. Hi, Amy. So now I'm going to pop back over to PowerPoint, and we're going to talk about what's known as a non-contiguous block. So a non-contiguous block is not a solid block. And there are times when you want to skip over things. So the trick is, if you're a Mac person, you're going to hold down the Command key. If you're a PC person, you're going to hold down the Control key. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but if you are, let's say you're a PC person going over to Mac, or Mac person going over to PC, right? If you're using Control in a PC, 99 times out of 100, it's going to be the Command key in the Mac. And if you are if you're using the Alt key on a PC, 99 times out of 100, it's going to be the Option key on the Mac. So if you have to switch back and forth. All right, last thing I'm going to show you is the non-contiguous. And this one can save a lot of time, especially in Excel. But let me go ahead and pop over, and we'll start out with Excel, show you that. So let's say I want to select this row. And remember, it doesn't have to be the whole thing. I'm just going to select from A1 to H1. And then I want to skip over a few of these. So I'm going to hold down the Control key, and then I can select, and it doesn't have to be the whole thing. See, this is what we call a non-contiguous block. And I could actually come back and add to it if I wanted to. Now, the reason you might do that is, let's say for some reason I want to highlight just these rows. Of course, I could do it manually, but that's way too much work, right? Why not just select the rows that I wanted, and then I can just go ahead and click up here and see how quickly I was able to apply that. So I didn't have to go individually. Now, the same sort of thing happens in Word. So if I go back over to Word, let's say I want to select this paragraph, then I could skip over a paragraph, hold down the Control key. I could select that paragraph, and maybe I just want this paragraph. And then what I could do is come back. Maybe I'm going to change the color of the font. Let's make it stand out. We'll make it red. I want it bold, and I want it italicized. So again, it's just, you don't have to keep doing it over and over again. You can just use the Control key to select things. And the last place I'll show you, just to show you ideas. Well, actually, I'll go into PowerPoint again. In PowerPoint, remember, I have a bunch of different objects here. So maybe for some reason, I just want to take this object and this object. Okay, so I can select this object, and then I can just do Control and click on this object. Sometimes you don't want the entire block. Then I could move them around, do whatever it is that I wanted to. So it's just nice to know sometimes that little trick. And the final one I'll show you where you can use this is back over in Explorer. So let's say I decided, whoops, I picked the wrong one. I want to take this this one over here. Whoops, sorry about that. Try that again. Yeah, this one. Okay, let's say I want to skip over some of these. So I want to select, maybe I want to select this one that's a dinosaur, and I want to hold down the Control key, and then maybe I want to select this one, and I want to select this one and this one. So see how easy that is? I can just hold down my Control key, tap whichever ones I want. Remember, you could do the Command key in the Mac. And then that way, you could copy it, you could cut it, you could move it to a different folder, whatever it is that you wanted. So, hey, thanks for all the little comments. I'm glad you're enjoying this. So let me go ahead and pop back over. Thank you so much for coming over to the Monday Live for the 18th. And just as a quick reminder, I'll bring up the little reminder of what I'm going to talk about next week, because next week is pretty cool. Okay, you can tell I kind of like this thing, but I think you'll find this one's amazing. So again, if you are interested in making sure that you're able to attend our Monday Lives, I do it every Monday at 11 for about 15 minutes. So you can go over to virtualinstructor.com. At the homepage, you'll actually see the link, or just put in Monday Live calendar. And next week, I'm going to talk about this really cool program called Jarvis.ai. And I think you're going to be kind of blown out of the water with what this thing does. It is so cool. So I hope to see you next week, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and the rest of the week. And hopefully you can use those keyboard shortcuts. We're all about helping you save that, stop spending hours on little projects that should only take a few minutes, and start reclaiming your valuable time. See you next week. Bye.